out of red.
Kevin Dabrowski announcing the start of the third frame. Interesting beginning. First frame, nothing to write home about. The second, though, most certainly was. Interesting beginning. First frame, nothing to write home about. The second, though, most certainly was. When it comes to that shot to nothing red, no one knocks it in more regularly than Mark Williams. He's a little unlucky, actually, where the cue balls come to rest.
Catching ball, please declare.
And he's so consistent with his thin edges, Mark Williams.
Brown ball.
If there's a shot that he sort of specialises in, it's a shot that he's clipping thin. Very, very accurate.
Mark Williams, 1.
It was touching ball on the brown, so he nominated that and played away. All the time trying to nestle in behind the green, which he's done. But with a target as wide as this, shouldn't be an issue.
Well, you say that, Phil.
Miss. Mark Williams, 7.
Wow. That was a big target, Stephen.
Yeah, and worse yet for Luca. If this red goes in, he should have a nice angle on the black to get into the pack. Oh, he needs that cue ball to pull up.
1.
Yeah, he's overhit it. Disappointing. That was a great pot from Mark.
Yellow ball.
Had that cue ball have pulled up, he would have had a nice angle to pot the black and screw into the pack. This time Mark nominates yellow and fails.
5. Miss. Mark Williams, 1. Luca Brecel, 4.
Well, once again, asking the referee Kevin Dabrowski to check this is a free ball, and free ball declared. So what a big error that was from Mark. This is now a glorious chance for Luca. If he pots a colour, get himself nicely on his next. He's got a big, big target to get into that pack.
Don't very often say this about Mark Williams, but his previous shot was just loose, wasn't it? That's the last thing he wanted to do.
Yeah, and it was the sort of thing you would never imagine you'd possibly leave a free ball, but that's what's happened. And this time Luca does get into the pack of reds. Played a very similar shot in the opening frame, caught the knuckle of that middle pocket, made no mistake this time.
I've noticed this with Luca a lot over the years. Always prepared to use the ball colours when needs be, and very good at it. You might recall one of the breaks he made yesterday. Lots of yellows and greens and browns involved. As Ted Lowe often used to say, little fish are sweet.
Yeah, he's just looking at this red, Luca. He's not got the best angle on it. Of course, he can just screw back for the blue, but may mean he's a bit closer to the side rail than he would have liked. There you see, that's why he's played harder out for the baulk colour, ensuring his cue ball is back into the centre of the table. If he potted that red and played for the blue, to get top side, he would have been close to that side rail. So again, Phil just taking his medicine, playing for the baulk colours, happy to do so. Now, has this one gone wrong?
Oopsie.
Body language, to me, says he's on nothing.
And that's always the age-old problem when you're taking that cue ball on a big journey. More opportunity for things to go a little out of kilter.
Thank you.
Again, this the sort of shot Mark Williams usually so reliable with, just finding that very thin edge. Look at that. There's just nothing wrong with those mince pies.
He's 50 in March, is Mark Williams. I remember back in 1988 when his fellow Welshman Doug Mountjoy won the UK Championship at the age of 46. We thought it was otherworldly to do that. And now, players in their mid to late 40s prospering, it's purely commonplace.
And it's a sort of shot you see played so often now in the modern game because the balls, well, because the cloths are so responsive, the reds open very easily. You know, players often err on the side of caution to avoid pushing anything over the corner pockets. Catching those thin edges and finding those thin edges consistently is such an asset to have in your locker.
One.
Well, again, excellence from distance. And if this goes right, he's in, banging.
Yeah, he can just put all his attention into the pot here. Surely the Reds are going to hold up the cue ball for him. Oh, but he's overcut it. Well, he's missed it by some way as well.
So, one.
And just had to pot this black. White was always heading into the Reds, but failed to do the first thing, and that was pot the ball. So, chance refalls back to Mark Williams.
Sometimes a ball can roll offline when you're playing a pot of the distance that Brecel missed, but at that pace it couldn't have rolled off that much. No way. That was pilot error.
Five.
Now, I'd quite like the pink back on its spot after removing this red, because this red is obstructing the pink spot you can see. You know, just come round to have a little look at the black and the pink. What's happening there? Black spot's slightly congested. May can play a delicate little cannon or can stun across for the black into the opposite corner. And he's gone for the little cannon. That's okay.
Williams again not happy with the chalk debris on the cloth.
Let's see.
Judge that cannon brilliantly. I think he's irritated by the chalk on the cloth, but he's not going to be annoyed. He's not that kind of character. Takes things in his stride, Stephen.
Yeah, and he won't let that affect his focus or concentration, will he? You know, he's such an experienced campaigner, Mark Williams. There's nothing he hasn't seen in the game. A little bit of chalk on the table is not going to bother him.
And of course, for the majority of his now 32-year professional career, Williams would have used the chalk that Brecel's using now. The advent of the town chalk, relatively recent.
26.
players were sceptical at first when the town chalk came on the scene, but those sceptics fell away very quickly when they realised the benefits. Not just the messiness of the table, its kicks have been reduced drastically. Big bounces. Now that's one thing that does get under Mark Williams' skin. If he gets a big bounce off a cushion, he hates that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's your bread and butter on the line out there when you're playing. It's sometimes all or nothing, particularly in the early rounds. You know, speaking from experience, playing at the lower end of the tour, you know, there's a lot at stake for those players, and you try and do everything you can to control the outcomes yourself. But of course, sometimes kicks and heavy contacts, bounces are out of your control. Eradicating them for the game just makes it a more level playing field.
41.
You know, you can accept missing balls. That's something to work on. I've had a couple of horrendous kicks in my time that really have cost me frames and matches, and you know, enough was just enough.
42.
That was very nicely played through a quite small gap. 2-1 is beginning to beckon. Williams looking at the scoreboard in this Global Theatre Arena. 39 in front.
49.
So red-black here. That will be enough to leave Brecel requiring a snooker.
50. 57. 58.
And the disappearance of that red guarantees the frame will be on the ledger of the Welshman.
Yeah, and still the outside chance of a century. Needs this black to drop. Is it going to drop? No.
Williams, 58 on a frame.
So, a century from Mark Williams in the second frame is followed by a half century in the third. He was 1-0 down. Now he's 2-1 up. Up next in our second semi-final, it is Ronnie O'Sullivan against Mark Allen. And it's going to be a busy day for Lee Walker there, chatting away with the multiple world champion, the Rocket. Lee Walker is also the right-hand man, the best pal of Mark Williams. It could be an all-Lee Walker final, one where he can't lose.
It's a good problem to have, isn't it? Don't worry about Lee
Thank
Walker.
you. Frame 4. Mark Williams to break.
Williams will be feeling very good, actually. Didn't play a good first frame, and these best of sevens can quickly get away from you. Last couple of frames, though, he's been right on it.
There's the average shot times for both players at 18 seconds. That's pretty brisk stuff. Both locked at 91% POC success as well, so it seems there's not a lot between them, although Mark Williams has done the better of the scoring in this match. Breaks of 58 and 103. Again, clever little shot that Mark's played there. Lots of right-hand side to straighten the cue ball up, check it up off the cushion to find that cue ball back to balk.
The caution taken here is for two reasons. One, the difficulty of the position, and also the fact that the Reds quickly have spread far and wide. So if anyone gets in, they could make plenty. Oh, that's lovely. That is lovely. Not just the contact, but the speed as well. One of the best safety shots you're ever likely to see.
It's just so good, because that red closest to this side cushion was a massive target there for Mark Williams to career into. Luca's got a similar shot here, but I can't tell you enough how scary that shot looks when you stood at that end of the table. All you can see is that red on the cushion. That was a brilliant shot that Mark had played. You know, it's clearly on for Luca there, but he just daren't play it.
Oh, miss. Mark Williams 4.
And this will be going back, and the reason for that is Luca will probably have one more attempt at this shot. It basically has to catch it perfect, because if he doesn't, he's going to stick Mark in, and if he misses it again, he will be warned by the ref, because he can see Red's full ball.
Yeah. Mark?
And if he doesn't catch this just right, a little bit too thick, and he could stick Mark well in amongst them here. And there you see, he was up very quickly, he knew, and now he's hoping, praying that he's left nothing. No, he stuck him banging amongst them. And that's the byproduct, the result of that brilliant safety shot that Mark Williams played. Didn't look much, but I can't tell you enough how difficult that shot was that he played. Brilliant shot. So his minor concern here, Mark, is his cue ball. He's got easier pot available than this red, but positionally it offers a better chance of landing nice on a colour. Yeah, that's a great pot again. He needs the cue ball to slow up, and it isn't going to.
1.
Brecel's going to be in a heap of trouble.
Mark Williams, 1.
If all of the reds were tightly packed, there wouldn't be that much to worry about. But clearly they are not tightly packed.
Oh! Wow! Would you... Oh, look at the cannon he's had.
1.
How has he landed there? He's had a complete lash up there, Luca Brecel. He could find no shot to get that one safe. Look at this. Outrageous. Look at the cannon as well. My goodness me, Phil. That is probably the fluke of the season.
On the tour, it's known as a Maguire, because Stephen Maguire, when he can't find his way out of a seemingly impossible position, does that. Working on the premise, he might fluke one. But that's with position attached. Wow. What a blow for Mark Williams.
I mean, for that to happen at any stage, it hurts. But this is such a big match. There's so much prize money at stake. Okay, we're still well away from the winning line in this game, but these matches can turn very quickly.
16.
That fluke was filth.
$70.
Years and years ago, there was a lower-ranked pro from South Africa called Robbie Grace, who, when he had a fluke, just laughed. He would have been laughing his head off at that one. As for Williams, he must feel totally aggrieved.
22.
And that's the mad thing with this game. It doesn't matter how well you play, how skillful you are, you know. Sometimes your opponent is just going to throw their arm at one. Luca was in trouble there. He could find no shot. He chanced his hand. And look at the result. What can you do? That is just completely out of Mark Williams' hands there. Unbelievable.
28.
The most outlandish fluke I've ever seen was in the Championship League, Scott Donaldson. But it was a very low-key match, even though visually the fluke was extraordinary. This is far from low-key. It's very high profile, high stakes. And, apart from the fluke itself, position was obtained also. It was a double whammy.
$36.
I mean, we could sit and watch
37.
this shot all day because we didn't know where to look, but look at that. Smashes the balls, red off a red, cue ball in and out of balk, threads through everything. Nice little cannon, just to develop those two reds as well. Hold for the black.
New nickname. Fluker Luca.
$43. $44.
Well, it's all well and good getting the run of the ball and the look when it comes. It's what you do with it. And so far, so good. Luca's taken these nicely. OK, he was absolutely plumbing amongst them, but he's still got to stand up and pot the balls. What a turning point this could be in this match.
51.
You know, OK, it's just to level things up, but it gives him some momentum going into the next frame. Gives something for Mark Williams to think about while he's sat there in his chair watching him on. Probably thinking that these points should have been his.
52.
Give Brecel credit, though. I think it's sometimes quite tough to maintain concentration in those kind of circumstances. And yet he, after the apology, just seemed entirely zoned in on going about his
58.
task.
Yeah, I think the longer you play this game, the more experience you obviously get, the more battle scars you sort of have to endure.
59.
I think you get to the point where when you get a bit of run and you get a good flute, it doesn't bother you one bit. You know, as a junior and amateur, you could often be a little bit embarrassed by flukes. Not anymore. You know, take it.
Might be embarrassed by that positional shot, though. The frame is far from one.
Yeah, he's disgusted with that one, isn't he, Luca? He had so much room for error there. Anything but on top of the red, basically. Look at how much room he's got. This pink is so missable, and not just the pot. His cue ball's travelling away from the reds. OK, he'll have a red to cut into the middle pocket, but surely at this stage it may be too risky.
Blue ball.
Maybe time to just push the blue safe. Get the cue ball up in behind the green on the cushion.
Luca Brecel. 59.
Well, a small measure of consolation for Williams. At least he didn't lose the frame directly because of Brecel's good fortune. And still not over the line. 59 on the table. The lead is only 55.
Yeah, it might be worth a punt here for Luca to pop this pink into the yellow pocket or even the middle pocket. Just puts him numerically over the line in this frame. He doesn't need to play on a red either. Yeah, that's a great shot. No intention of playing for a red there. Just make sure of the points, get yourself numerically over the line in this frame, and then face the position from wherever the cue ball came to rest.
Luca Brecel. 7.
Again, trying to brush the chalk off the table. Now, is he making a non-verbal statement with that, Stephen?
I don't know. I just think you sort of become accustomed to such clean tables now with the chalk that it's sort of quite alien to see chalk on the cloth nowadays. One thing I will say about Luca, how he actually chalks the cue is a massive reason as to why there's so much chalk on the table. He really lathers it on, and you know, years ago you would often see a player chalk the cue and then just blow the top of the tip just to sort of blow any excess chalk off. Luca doesn't. He really cakes it on and he just cracks on. And of course, upon contact, tip to cue ball, that excess chalk then leaves the tip and then goes on the cloth.
Brecel, quite correct to be cautious.
One.
Well, from the sublime to the ridiculous we've seen in this frame, the fluke that Luca had was a massive advantage to him. The fluke that Mark Williams has just had, a huge disadvantage. He did not want that red to go in.
Yeah, needs a high value colour, and whatever he pots here will be low value.
Yeah, maybe trying to just cross double this blue. If this doesn't go in, I think there might be a concession in this frame. Oh, it's close.
Six.
Even with the blue, though, it means now one snooker is needed, and then 3 reds, 3 blacks, and all the colours just to tie the scores.
Yeah, and if he takes another colour other than the black here, it will be an extra snooker, so he might just have to take his medicine here, Mark. Play for the pink. He's got a guaranteed red-black after this, and then possibly a guaranteed snooker from the final red. Get the cue ball in behind the black. He's got half a chance here, Mark. Pot this red, pot the black.
Let's see.
Send the red back up into balk. There's a couple of balls, yellow or green. Quite a inviting target to get that red near. Chance of a free ball. And if he can land his cue ball somewhere where he's pointing there, anywhere on this top cushion, send the red down the table, white in behind the black.
Yeah, not just about laying any old snooker. He needs to lay a stinker.
You can hit this red just to the side cushion beneath the middle pocket. Send it over. Try and get it close to a baulk colour. It's a pretty good effort.
20.
Although he's left the 1 cushion escape for Luca. Maybe a 2 cushion. If he's got the 2 cushion, that's certainly the route I'd be going. It takes the free ball out of the equation. Yeah, if you're going to miss it to that side, because that just ensured you couldn't possibly leave a free ball.
So Williams needs 1 more snooker.
It's quite a nice table to lay snookers, actually. That yellow being off its spot provides a massive target in that area of the table. Luca taking full advantage of it.
Where the red is, this is a must escape.
Well, he's got the chance to pot this red to the green pocket, Luca, but he's got an absolutely guaranteed snooker in behind the blue if he doesn't want to risk missing the red. Yeah, that's what he's chosen. I don't blame him for that, because had the red not have gone in, he may have left an easy snooker for Mark Williams, and all of a sudden he's banging trouble. Just trying to bide his time here. And the patience has paid off.
Luca Brecel 4. Frame conceded. Frame. Luca Brecel.
Mark Williams concedes. There was more to that frame than just the fluke alone. But what a fluke it was. Maybe it will be a turning point. 2-2. A total of 12 players began the Riyadh Season Snooker Championship. Now we are down to just 4. Mark Williams, who beat Judd Trump in the quarterfinals last night 4-3 in a cracking contest. He's up against Luca Brecel, who came through 4-3 against the reigning world champion, Karen Wilson. Our second semi-final to be played in this session will feature Mark Allen, the conqueror of Mark Selby in the last 8, who meets Ronnie O'Sullivan, the architect of the swiftest victory in the tournament so far. 48 minutes it took for O'Sullivan to whitewash Ding Junhui 4-0. If he maintains that form, a successful title defence here could be very much on the cards. So, Stephen, the last frame, frame 4 we've just seen, so many talking points, especially this one.
Ridiculous. I mean, you just didn't know where to look. First it was the red, then it was the cue ball. What's going to happen next? Red in the pocket, white in and out of ball, round the table, perfect on the black. I mean, you just can't write it. But this was a lot better shot than it looked. Very clever use of a lot of left-hand side to check the cue ball up, hold him behind the yellow, send the red down the table. Just regains him control in this frame, because for a moment there, it may have been worrying times for Luca. Mark got the snooker. That just allowed him to get control once again of the table and ultimately won him the frame.
So best of 7 frames is distilled to the best of 3.
Just say that again, Mark.
It was a good fluke.
They've only played 2 best of 7s before, and on both occasions Williams had a comfortable victory. 4-1 in the last 32 of the Riga Masters in 2017. Same year, 4-1 in the last 64 of the English Open. This is big time snooker.
Luca Brecel to break.
Lots of pressure attached.
Classic Mark Williams there, just before the frame commenced, just saying to the referee Kevin Dabrowski, that was a good fluke, wasn't it? He's so calm and composed, isn't he? Just so nonchalant out there. Not a care in the world. Just laughs it off.
Does have moves though, Mark Williams. I remember he went through a spell where quite often he'd shake his head. It looked as though he wasn't in position on a particular ball, and then after some prevarication he'd get down and knock it in sweet as a nut. Now that is guaranteed to get the other guy a little hot under the collar.
Yeah, that's the worst thing actually, when you sat in your chair watching your opponent at the table, sort of moaning that they're on nothing, and then 2 shots later they've knocked it in, back plumb. Well, Mark playing the swerve around there to try and just catch the edge of the pack. He did do, but caught it slightly too thin. But no damage done. There was a red available to left corner, but far too risky for Luca because he couldn't get his cue ball threaded behind the black and back out. Again, Mark trying to find the thin edge of this red. Just caught it a little thicker, and that's the reason, you know, you catch that safety shot slightly too thick, there's always a chance you push a red over the corner pocket. Just watch, he plants a 3-ball close to that right corner.
Well, he's left slightly hampered queuing over the brown, so that had to be potted.
1.
And maybe it compromised Brecel's control of the white, although it has come to a halt just in the nick of time.
4.
From one standpoint, Stephen, I think it's fair to say that if you're apportioning pressure here, maybe Brecel's under more than Williams, because in 2024 it's been a golden time for the Welshman. Not so for Brecel, who's trying to get back on the world stage.
Yeah, but then I suppose on the flip side of that argument, you could say that Luca's on a free roll this week because his results have been so below par. Okay, he feels like he's playing well and he's just not been getting the results, but ultimately the results don't lie. And the fact that he hasn't had many this season, this, you know, has given him a real big boost. Not just in terms of where his game is at with his confidence, but of course the massive amount of prize money that's coming with it. So he might feel that there isn't any pressure on him whatsoever, and that he can just go out there and enjoy snooker, and everything from here on out is a bonus now. But make no mistake, he'll want to win.
16. Yellow. Luca Brecel.
Bear in mind, this is someone,
16.
Brecel, who, if you include the World Championship earlier this year, when he lost in the first round defending, had lost or failed to progress from his opening match in 8 of his last 12 tournaments.
One.
Very important phase of the match, this. If Williams can have a good visit, a fruitful visit, thoughts of that fluke and the way he lost frame 4 will drift away. They'll still be in the back of his mind, but they won't be to the forefront.
Yeah, and it's not an easy chance, this, for Mark. He's got 2 reds at the back of the pink that maybe it plants to this left corner, which in playing will open the pink spot. Again, look, never misses a trick, Mark, to try and bring more balls into play. Just a little thinner on this pink than he would have liked. He's now going to drop this and play a delicate little cannon. Again, just lovely control there. Fully in control of where that object ball was heading. Knew he was pushing it close to this left corner pocket. Black isn't available to either corner pocket at the moment, so it's a good job. A couple of shots ago, Mark decided to open that pink spot, just give himself more options. But that one's gone wrong, you can see. Didn't want that little flick on the pink.
And we saw from the overhead camera that he was stretching a little there, Steve, and that might have affected his timing.
Yeah, and it's one of them shots that just really sort of winds you up as a player, because there's no reason to make that cannon. He's had so much room for error there. Just trying to be too cute, too close to his next ball.
Mark Williams, 12.
This is the reason why I love watching Mark Williams play. There's always a motive behind his shots, and some of the shots he plays, they never look much, but look at the shot he's just played there, dropping onto the green, using the brown as the snookering ball, forcing Luca to come down the table, knowing that he's got that red in baulk available for him. Should Luca try and get back to baulk, Mark could then try and gain the advantage in 2 shots' time. He's such a clever player.
The class of 1992 is often mentioned. Top of that class, of course, that tremendous trio, O'Sullivan, Williams, Higgins. All of them are great lateral thinkers when it comes to snooker. It's as though they read a situation instinctively.
I bet Luca is sick of Mark Williams finding those thin edges. Again, tap on the table. He's just so consistent with that shot. He very, very rarely misses it, and he very, very rarely catches it too thick. It's always perfect as Luca finds, oh, nearly another fluke.
Well, even as a neutral, I'm glad that stayed out. That would have been too much to take.
One.
And an appetising shot to play now. The crowd applaud, and rightfully so. Potting that yellow in itself was tough, especially at pace.
Oh, that's not good from Mark. He just caught the knuckle, the top knuckle of that corner pocket, meaning he isn't on that red right of the black, the one that he played for. Just watch this blue again as he tops it through, little trace of right hand side to try and widen it off the second cushion. Just catches the knuckle.
Mark Williams, 9.
Well, there was nothing lucky about that. Mark came round, had a look at the red. It was a plant. He felt that catching the red onto the black would send that red to that pocket. Played it nicely. Okay, the little bounce of the knuckle at the middle pocket was not intended. But the brown being off its spot meant that navigating in and out of baulk was no issue.
6.
Not only the initial red, but to bring more reds into play as well. Very aggressive shot. He wouldn't have taken that on unless he was absolutely certain that that red was going to go in.
7.
The crucial part of the deciding frame against Judd Trump was the way that Williams, in one fell swoop,
Let's say.
developed a couple of reds from the top cushion. This time, he's got 3 awkwardly positioned.
He's got options here, Mark. He ideally would like an angle off the pink. Just slightly high of straight.
40.
Not sure he's got it there. Yeah, well, it might not be too bad. He could top this in. Plenty of pace. Come across and develop the reds. That's what he's tried. Good attempt. Now, has he just pushed a plant onto this right corner?
20.
It's very, very close. Oh, there maybe would just be set top jaw. This time, this is a lot tougher. He has to turn the second red over slightly. And in playing safe off them, trying to get back to baulk, he would surely push a red over this corner pocket anyway, so he may try and work this one out, Mark. If not, he has to be careful if he tries to get back to baulk. He may just try and contain things. He's just looking at the 2 reds, how close they are together. The initial contact on the first red, he needs to turn that second red over, just send it slightly left as we look behind the pocket. It's one of them where it sort of reverses. It's always quite a difficult shot to convince yourself how to play it. If he doesn't go for it, he's got to catch the first red incredibly thin. Plenty of left-hand side to get back up to baulk to avoid pushing that red over this corner, and that's exactly what he's done.
Mark Williams, 20.
How often have we seen that over the course of the last 3 days? If you catch that near jaw on these top pockets, no hope.
Yeah, he's actually turned it over too much, hasn't he, Mark? Because he's missed it on the left side. So good intention, but just not executed as well as he would have hoped.
1.
And now there's not a problem ball in sight. Obviously, lots of work to be done to clear up, but within Brecel's capabilities, very much so. And even though he's 21 points behind in this frame, he's the favourite.
Yeah, this is a big moment for Luca. Big clearance. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's a spot.
There's nothing safe, as you say, so it's hard to see where any problems could arise, but of course we know that with pressure things can go wrong. But this is a big moment. This clearance puts him 1 away from a place in the final.
11. 12.
Yeah, pink was a nice ball to play on there. Although he's not got the best angle. You see a little shake there. Needed more angle there. He's a little straight. More angle, he could have just powered the cue ball up down the left side of the table. He's looking at playing almost a power screw shot here, screwing back above the middle pocket, possibly 2 cushions, but again, that can go wrong. The previous red was the poor shot. Where he's pointing his cue there, if he catches that part of the cushion, he surely needs to go off that one and then catch the baulk cushion as well.
We see it so often. Positional shot from last big colour onto the yellow. Invariably key.
There's the first cushion, and there's the second cushion. Now needs it to run. Playing it that way just increased his chances, increased the area for the cue ball to land on. But now he needs another good shot. He's got to pop this yellow into its own pocket and navigate the cue ball all the way down and back up the table.
The snooker gods continuing to smile on Brecel. A little different angle off that cushion. He could have been in behind the blue. Good pot with the rest, that. Good pot under pressure.
23.
The hard work seems to be done.
Yeah, that was such a good shot on the green, under pressure. So easy to
26.
get a little too much side on that. You naturally play it with a trace of left-hand side, just to swing the cue ball round. Played it nicely. Very easy to catch that one too thick. Under pressure, that was a brilliant shot.
A little lax, coming too far with the cue ball on the blue. Brecel needs blue and pink.
$32.
Luca Brecel
38.
has held his nerve and he's regained the lead. He's 1 frame away from a place in the final of the Riyadh Season Snooker Championship because he leads Mark Williams by 3 frames to 2. out in the Arena 1 Mark is in a little bit of trouble. In the practice room, another Mark Allen, preparing for his semi-final coming up shortly against the defending champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Mark Allen has got the game, and he's got the mental capacity to win that match.
Thank you. Frame 6.
He's got
Mark Williams
terrific bottle, and he believes in his own ability and his own status
quickly, please.
to be involved in snooker's biggest matches. He won't be intimidated by O'Sullivan, unlike the vast majority of the Rockets' opponents, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think that's certainly one of the things that stands for Mark Allen in the next game against Ronnie. He believes he can win. He believes he can beat anyone, and sometimes that's half the battle.
Just to give you some idea of what Brecel's playing for here, if he gets through, he'd be on a guarantee of at least £125,000. Now that is more than the first prize in quite a number of world ranking events this season. All of the Home Nation Series events, the shootout, and others. So it's very significant, this. And of course, if he does win this match, maybe go on to win the tournament, what validation that would be to say, I'm back.
Yeah, and for me, it was inevitable that Luca was going to find some form at some stage. You know, we speak about that disappointing start to the season. But for me, a little bit of hard work and commitment back to his sport, he was always going to find some form. He's too good not to. He's such an incredibly gifted player. And there's an example of just how effortless he makes this game look at times. Straight down, couple of little feathers, just drops the red in. No problems. Now that may be okay if that red at the back of the pack passes to this right corner, which I think it may just. He's got the chance to possibly bring a few more reds into play. Yeah, delicately played. He's pushed one more red out.
With the match on the line, thoughts of a 167 are receded, but the fact remains the golden ball is still on the table. Yeah, it wasn't the best pack ever to go into there, although he may still have a red available to left middle, sorry.
that may keep him positionally back on the black. It's very tough pot. And if he can't get to somewhere near the middle of the cue ball, it may be really awkward cueing as well. I think at this stage of the competition, this stage of the match, it's all about getting the job done. Regardless of how you get over the line, just get the job done. So this is the conversation Luca's having with himself now, just trying to find a way out of this situation. Can he keep this break going, or is it time to play a good safety shot?
The natural instinct for Brecel would be to try and remain at the table, but is it worth it?
Yeah, you could see there just from how he got down to that red, the loose red to left middle. He obviously can't get to somewhere near the middle of the cue ball, so there's no way he'll be taking that shot on.
Luca Brecel. 20.
The golden ball leaves for another frame, but that doesn't detract from the drama.
Now Mark may try and dig into this cue ball, send the red back down the table, go side cushion, try and get in behind that yellow. That's what he's tried, but caught the red a little too thin. And worse yet, he's not got a good cue ball.
When balls are going everywhere, there's always danger. He didn't intend that kiss on the red, but the little flick off it has worked perfectly. Just take some pace out of the cue ball and left a really nice angle on pink, Stephen.
I don't think you can begrudge him a flick here and there after that outrageous fluke a few moments ago from Luca. That's the least he deserves, Mark.
But more than likely, the way her snooker brain operates, Brecel's thinking, he had a nice little flick there.
Set.
Yeah, don't worry about that. He'll be chalking that one up in his mind.
Eight.
Well, if he's not on the black, that really is a blunder. I just get the impression he is. He's okay, I think. Well, I think he had to coax it in with side, Stephen.
Yeah, I was with you. I was pretty convinced he could see that fine enough, but clearly from how he's played it, he had to just chuck a trace aside on it to straighten that black up. So much so that it only just went in off the near jaw. But again, another shot that Mark is just so good at.
16.
So consistent finding those thin edges.
Nineteen. Mark
Williams left the table
19.
more prematurely than he wanted to, but at least he's only 5 behind now. Hasn't bothered to sit down because he knows his next shot is coming up pretty shortly.
Mark Williams 4.
That was a superb billiard shot, but that's not the game we're playing. This is not wham bam from Luca Brecel. He's very studious, clearly desperate to prevail.
Yeah, there you can see, just as the pressure has started to mount as this match has gone on,
Would
the
you
average
phone on
shot
silent,
times
please?
inevitably have increased somewhat. Both players were down at 18 seconds in the early exchanges of this match, now at 21 and 22 respectively. So it just tells you, but again, sometimes the balls can dictate that. You know, the frames can go scrappy, as this one is. You know, when you're in and scoring, it's obvious you're going to be playing quicker. But it doesn't take anything away from just how important this frame is for Luca Brecel.
This time he benefits from a contact to hold on the pink.
Yeah, you could see the little tilt of the head there from Luca, just willing that cue ball to pull up. He wanted to be straight on this red, and now it's going close towards the green.
8.
So much so, he wasn't even able to get position, so very quickly that break has ended.
Green ball. Luca Brecel, 8.
Well, that loose red going into the pack of reds has just flicked one out for Luca, although it's pretty straight to this right middle. Not really much he can do with the cue ball, but just give everything to the pot, so it's a safety shot. The thing is, he doesn't need to take any risks now, Luca. It's up to Mark Williams to try and force an opening. Now, if Luca can just chip off the red just beneath the pink, unless, does it pass to that middle? There may be a gap. Well, it does. Oh, what a pot that was.
1.
And this time a really unlucky knuckle. Because that was a terrific pot at pace. It's not the 7th and deciding frame, Stephen, but it's got the feel of a decider, this.
Absolutely. Yeah, the table has gone very awkward early on in this frame, which quite often you see in a decider. But there's so much at stake, isn't there? Luca's got control of the table for the time being, though.
1.
You know, a 10-point lead at this stage of the frame doesn't seem an awful lot, but with the colours where they are, a little bit awkward. Every time Luca pots a red, it takes points away from Mark Williams. And at the minute, Mark's not really able to get himself in. He's only able to just try and contain things.
You have to question that. The way he played it, the only ball he could leave was the one he went for. But when you go for a double like that, the ball can run wild and they can run over a pocket, and it has done.
Yeah, and he was having to bounce the red into the cushion to straighten it up, so it was a very tough shot anyway, very low percentage. The only reason he's played it was because he felt it was the only red he could leave should he miss it, but sometimes when you push the boat out a little bit too much, the balls just punish you, and look at the result. Not only did the red go in there, he's just flicked the yellow off the cushion as well. So this is now the opening Mark's been waiting for. Oh, but he's missed the blue with the rest. And now he needs some help, and he hasn't got it. Or has he?
Mark Williams. White.
Surely one of these reds by the pink will pass to right corner. I think the one closest to the pink will.
One. Eight.
It's a dinky little red to middle.
Oh, we saw Ding play a similar shot to this yesterday on the brown. When you're so close to the object ball, you've got to get out of there as quick as possible. Bring the cue back as quick as possible. He's played it very, very nicely. Now he's got a similar sort of shot on this blue. When you're so close to the object ball like that, it's very easy to play a push shot or just barely touch the red at all. Now, big shot this coming up if Luca decides to take this blue to the yellow pocket. I think he has to go for this. He's pretty much right behind it. Just needs to fully commit.
Luca Brecel. No.
Nerve ends raw. Not a bad attempt from Brecel, but when the white and the object ball are so close together, judging the potting angle is always a difficulty. As Williams discovered there.
Yeah, fair play to Mark Williams there. What he's just done may go unnoticed, but he originally asked the referee to clean the cue ball because there was something on it. But because the cue ball was so close to the object ball, it may have been conceived by his opponent that he was trying to gain a mil or two in terms of when the referee replaces the white because it was so close to the object ball, so ultimately decided against it purely to not try and gain any sort of advantage. Of course, that's never what he would try and do, so completely disregarded the fact that the cue ball needed cleaning to play the shot first.
Already the lengthiest frame of the match, and what a strange frame it's been. Look at the balls where they are in very unaccustomed positions.
How do you fancy this 3-ball plan? He has to move that red somehow. Oh, that's a brilliant shot. What a shot that is.
One.
He's almost played a long swerve there. Look at how wide the cue ball comes and then back in just at the right moment. Whisker away from catching that second red. That was judged to perfection. Well, another big shot coming up now, this green.
Four.
Again, not an appetising shot to have to play. Especially with the rest, Stephen.
Yeah, the only thing is with this shot, it's not too bad because he can catch it thin enough, come across the face of the black possibly. he can get the cue and the rest out of there as quick as possible. The fact there's quite a bit of angle on this makes this a little bit easier. Oh, but he's missed it. That is such a misjudgment. Very easy to misjudge that type of shot when you're so close, but I didn't expect him to miss that one.
One.
Brecel can't quite believe what he's just done. The only solace he can gain. Yellow, brown and blue all clustered together.
He's looking for a low angle on this black, which he's found. Just play up for the yellow. Now, depending what angle he lands on this yellow, he's got a number of options available to him. It's an awkward brown and blue, but ultimately needs to develop them. So he'll take his chance here. If he has an angle to maybe flick the blue away from the cushion with this shot, he'll probably take it. If not, he'll look for an angle off the green.
Also worth bearing in mind that the Williams problem might well be down the line the Brecel problem, because only 4 ahead, he will need those 2 awkward balls himself.
Now he's got to be very, very precise with this cannon. He's almost
20.
executed that to absolute perfection, to try and catch the cushion and the blue simultaneously. If there was enough pace on the cue ball, he may have just pushed that brown on. So close.
They say, don't they, that no frame of snooker is ever alike, and this one has been very different to most. Lots of running side to help the cue ball make the journey.
20.
That, all things considered, very good indeed.
Yeah, there was a lot of emphasis on Mark there to get distance between the cue ball and object ball, because just rolling up to the brown or trying to just play a delicate one away from it would have left Luca an easy opportunity to put Mark in a lot of trouble. So once again, Mark thoroughly aware of that, taking that completely out of the equation.
Both players need brown, blue and pink. So Brecel needs 3 to win. Williams needs 3 to get to 3.
Sure, no problem. Right.
Oh, and he's going to the loo. He's going out of the arena. Well, when needs must, Stephen.
Yeah, and this has been the lengthiest frame of the match so far, just creeping close to 30 minutes. You know, there's a lot of pressure out there, a lot of fluids being taken on board. It's an easy thing to have to do at times. When you've got to go, you've got to go.
And of course, with all of his vast experience, Williams knows he doesn't want to regret staying out there when he's feeling uncomfortable. So this is the situation right now. Luca Brecel, 93% pot success rate. It's been a good performance. Not quite A+, but good. His pot success rate from distance, that is good. 8 out of 10. That will work every time. Highest break came from Mark Williams, who had that really golden spell for a couple of frames when he looked superb. 103 and 58. So, Luca Brecel trying to make it into the final and perhaps set up a repeat of the title match in this tournament last season when he was defeated by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ronnie O'Sullivan plays Mark Allen in our second semi-final, which is coming up a few minutes after the completion of the first semi-final. You see there, O'Sullivan last night was absolutely terrific, even by his illustrious standards. He took only 48 minutes to beat Ding Junhui. As for Luca Brecel, fine win over Kyron Wilson, the world champion, after being 2-0 down. I thought Mark Williams and Judd Trump, that was perhaps the best match of the lot. And the break that Williams made to win it in the end was out of the top draw. So coming up, Ronnie O'Sullivan trying to defend this title. He's defended plenty of others. Will take on Mark Allen, who over the last couple of years has had a really good time of it. Any thoughts on the next match, Stephen?
Well, first of all, I'm very much looking forward to it. I always think it's an absolute privilege to commentate on the best players in the world, and you know, we've got two of the best players in the world coming up next. Mark Allen against probably the best player ever, Ronnie O'Sullivan. It'll be a spectacle, but this one's still very much underway and still none the wiser of who's going to actually win this frame, because it's been a very cagey frame, this one.
And where blue and pink are, you get the feeling that a mistake on the brown might not be terminal.
Yeah, blue to pink is just a horrible shot anyway, even if you are right behind the blue, so there's certainly life left in this frame just yet.
First day of the tournament, very unusually, we had nothing but whitewashes, a quartet of 4-0 victories. But day two was very different to that. Super competitive, and the first semi-final in the same mould.
Well, he just needs to be careful here, Mark, if he's coming in behind this brown, that he doesn't push it over the green pocket, which is why he's going up and down. Good pace. Now Luca possibly has the same shot. He's got the up and down, or he could go in behind. This looks good. Oh, very nearly found coverage behind that blue.
Now that opened things up. Oh, the blue on the precipice. No one slam a door.
Yeah, Luca may have a free shot at this brown now. No, he's overcut it. If you are going to miss that type of shot, overcut it, because that way it's always going to run safe. And I just wonder how a few shots ago, Luca pushed that black safe. Will that be Will that come into play? Will it be significant at any point?
This frame is wide open, but over the years, who has been better equipped to win a frame like this? Mark Williams, a past master.
Yeah, this is where you can see quite a stalemate in this type of situation, because that blue is covering that pocket. That whole corner of the table is just a safe spot for the players. As long as you keep that brown somewhere near it, you're never going to leave anything.
And you might think, well, what's the latest ever re-rack in pro snooker? Well, it was, with just pink and black left on the table. Latest ever re-rack at the Crucible, with blue, pink and black on the table.
I remember that re-rack with just pink and black left. That was Chris Wakelin and Matthew Selt in China, wasn't it?
Added dynamic here as well, of course. If there was a re-rack, all balls would come back up, including the golden ball. It would be a brand new frame. A ways to go before that happens. But if we got into a stalemate situation, it's not as if one player has a significant advantage. Essentially, they're dead level in terms of balls needed. This is going to be the lengthiest frame of the tournament. Indicative of what it all means.
Now, is Mark potentially looking at doubling this brown up into the green pocket? There's a bit of a free shot with the blue being there. He has attempted it, played it at such a pace that the brown was always going to come down the cushion. Again, another example of never missing a trick, Mark Williams. Always looking for that inroad.
And with the blue over that pocket, just to repeat, there is always the sanctuary of playing a safety shot towards it. Oh dear me.
It could be soft.
Well, the only good thing for Mark is that the brown is safe. No matter where Luca puts this cue ball, he can't pot it. But what that means now is that Luca only needs the brown and blue. He doesn't need that safe pink. So it makes a massive difference, that does. Because as well, there's even more pressure on Mark Williams' safety now, because every shot that he plays, Luca will be looking for any chance he gets to play any sort of shot, a cross double, a double. If he can get his cue ball safe, the blue's hanging waiting and it's match ball. So there's a lot of pressure on Mark now. He's put himself under it a little bit with that in off.
Two hours and counting the match in progress. The rest of it has been quite swift, apart from this one. Williams has got limitless patience in this kind of situation. Another factor to take into consideration, if Brecel can pot brown and blue, as Stephen said, he would be 14 ahead. Now where the black is, getting snookers for Mark Williams off pink would be highly unlikely. So Brecel definitely in the ascendancy here.
Yeah, and it's really hard to see how either player is going to let up here, because but for anything outrageous. Oh well, there's another miss from Mark.
Yeah. Miss. Look at yourself full. Could we get that, please?
And now, after that, Williams needs all of them.
Still alive, some.
The original position is shown.
Yeah. Luca.
Cue ball put back precisely.
Oh, and now this makes a massive difference, because Mark Williams will be warned. He has to hit this brown now. He's trying to catch the thin edge, clearly the right thin edge, just send it back towards that blue, but now he can't play that shot.
To Collins as a result of the stroke. The frame will be able to check.
Williams will be delighted with the brown came to rest.
Now Luca's got a pretty big shot. If he can control the object ball, the brown, and get it safe, he could play a clever shot here, try and stun the cue ball in behind the pink, send the brown round 3-4 cushions, maybe towards that green pocket. It's quite risky, so that's why he's chosen against it. No need to push the boat out here, Luca. As long as he keeps that brown in open play on the left side of the table in that corner, you can't possibly leave Mark anything. It's up to Mark to try and push the boat out here. This looks okay. He's pushed the pink out. Okay, that helps.
Mark Williams has his back against the wall. If he can wriggle out of this predicament and win the decider, he'll go into the final playing with house money.
just wonder, does Luca have the option to play a cross double here? Bit of pace on this brown. It's close. Oh, he got so close to it, and that's the problem with that shot. You get that close at that pace, it's more than likely going to stay over the pocket. He took a gamble there, Luca.
I'm really surprised Williams missed that, because he had no positional consideration whatsoever.
Yeah, very, very surprising miss. And to make matters worse, he stuck the brown up.
Brecel has been very good with the rest throughout the match, and again it comes to his assistance. That's that. That is that. Mark Williams concedes. Luca Brecel was 2-1 down. Williams was playing nicely, but the Belgian won the last 3 frames, the last of which was an absolute epic, lasting 44 minutes. Luca Brecel, for the second Riyadh Season Snooker Championship in succession, is into the final. Brecel won the first frame, but then Mark Williams started to fire. Breaks of 103 and 58, and you thought he was on top. Then, of course, came that fluke. Not just the fluke itself, but look at position. Brecel made 59 from that, and from that point, he never looked back. Williams had the chance to force a decider, but when the brown went astray, you knew what was going to happen. Luca Brecel able to celebrate what for him is a very satisfying victory. So he is the first player into the Riyadh Season Snooker Championship final. Now it's just a matter of who will provide the opposition. Will it be Mark Allen, or will it be the defending champion Ronnie O'Sullivan? Will we have a repeat of last year's title match in this tournament? So confirmation. Brecel beating first Kyron Wilson, the world champion, then a former world champion in Mark Williams. Now it's a matter of whether Ronnie O'Sullivan can repeat his performance against Ding last night and overcome the formidable opposition that will be provided by Northern Ireland's finest player, Mark Allen. So much to look forward to as the final day here in Riyadh progresses.
Sign up at thezone.com/NLTV. The Zone is the home of boxing, with over 150 live fights a year. And you can relive history by watching the biggest fights at any time. What a shot, straight down the pipe. Just head to thezone.com and go to previous events to catch up on all the action from the biggest nights in boxing.
To the big occasion.
It's the final weeks of the regular season.
Catch made by George Kittle. Touchdown!
Here they come. Oh, what a strike!
A big step forward to the knockouts.
Fury Usyk Part 2. Both men saying this one will not go to 12 rounds.
It would be my time this time.
Lifted into Ronaldo!
The UEFA Women's Champions League, the best in the world.
Thunder a strike!
What a finish!
Sensational! Special goal!
Superstars aplenty.
That was lovely.
fantastic finish. 5-star Bayern.
What a moment this is.
Hello people, me again. Fight week on DAZN is non-stop action. Access all areas of the biggest fights. That and so much more, even before the bell rings.
Two of the most fluent players in the game. In the end, it turned into a little bit of a battle. And would you look at that? Both players, 90% pot success. Obviously, all the stats, they're really telling the story of the match. Mark Williams managing to hit a cheeky ton, but we're delighted to be joined by the man, the first man through to the final of the Riyadh Season Snooker Championship. Luca, let's get straight into it. That final frame, mate, that was dramatic.
Yeah, it was. So happy it didn't go to decider. But I felt really relaxed today. More than the other games, probably. And I felt like I had a good chance to play my best game. The balls didn't really go in the favor of each player to make big breaks, but yeah, it's a good win for me.
One of the reasons, Jim, we love watching Luca play is you never quite know what shot's going to happen. Case in point, that cheeky fluke in the first frame.
He's such a shot maker. He's sort of got no shot here. Often players do this, but not just fluke the red. It's come off 2 cushions and kiss them 2 reds perfect on the black. You do apologise, but you must have been laughing inside for sure.
That was crazy. I mean, I had a crazy fluke at Scotland when I hit the yellow of 7 cushions.
Yeah.
But this was up there.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a turning point, but, you know, there was a few balls missed. I thought that last frame, because of where the blue was,